Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. I hope everyone is doing all right. Let's check the volume. Always check your sound. And let's get this boat a-rocking. Guys, you will see a little icon at the bottom. Click link in the description box for Super Chat Alternative. That Super Chat Alternative is through PayPal, so it's nothing shady. But it would bring up a little Star Trek icon that would dance, shake, or give some kind of announcement. I think Scotty is there, and I think Spock is there, and there's one more. I think Q dances at one point. My channel is demonetized, and that's why I'm going through these lengths. So let's get to the show. War on reality. I'm going to call it that. A war on reality. I like the way those terms feel in my mouth, so that's what I'm going to go with. How do you know what's real? Honestly, no bullshit. How do you know what's real? You look out at the world, something happens. Okay, and if a big fucking thing happens. What happened? Explain to me what happened. And as you tell me, also tell me, where did you get the information from? I saw it on Twitter. I saw it on Facebook. I saw it on Google. I saw it on some digital device, some digital divide between me and the thing. And that's how I know. That's how I've incorporated this knowledge into my being of what the world around me is like. Great. How do you know that what you saw wasn't edited, changed, tweaked, updated, a line or word changed, something else tweaked or managed, the image itself manipulated? How do you know? That's what I'm getting at. How do you, as a human being, absolutely know what your world is based on the digital divide that separates you and the thing that's happening? And it's not just a digital divide. Even from the standpoint of the person that is observing it, the imparter of the information, there will be somewhat of a divide between what that person sees, what that person understands, and what that person is going to be able to communicate to you, and what you understand of what that person is communicating. I'm saying that you're always, to some degree, separated from the world that you're in. There's always a fudge factor in what's taking place versus your appraisal and understanding of what's taking place. Add to that appraisal and understanding of what's taking place with companies and political class that have a vested interest in turning platforms that were there for this idea of discourse and conversation, even when the discourse wasn't necessarily something you agreed with, even when it wasn't something that you particularly like, discourse, agreement, or in this case, even in the cases of disagreements. But it was there nonetheless. Just a platform, a blank slate from which human beings project the things that are in their head, good, bad, and everything in between. What happens when that platform that was there to impart that information becomes an active participant? So it's not, here's information, it's here's information with a filter. A choice is being made. Someone, somewhere, some bureaucrat is making a choice, and with that choice, a determination on what news you should see versus what news you shouldn't see, or what information should be prioritized versus deprioritized. How can you have reality at that point? That is to some degree of war on reality. We are constraining your understanding and idea of the world to the way and the ways that we believe is more adequate. To who? To us. To the propagation of the society and the way the society is. That's what's being said, that's what's being done, and that's what's taking place with the tech companies. This is an article that goes back to 2017 when they were brought to Congress. And some of the things that were said in that meeting needed to be highlighted. They definitely need to be highlighted in the light of Alex Jones' channel being taken down, because I guarantee Alex Jones is not going to be the only one. And whether the demonetization had anything to do with the way I do my content or not, I don't know. I would tell you this. Alex Jones being taken down will most likely not be the only one. He's just the beginning. And I suspect he's not even just the beginning, just the big one that we've heard of. Democrats have a vested interest, and Republicans, in pushing against what they consider to be a populist revolt against their radical centrism. Now, I say this to say that bringing these guys to account, the two parties that you have sitting there, Democrats and Republicans, for the most part, are in a large part of agreement on the way the world is and the way the world works. And they have benefited magnificently off of the order and the organization of things. And you have all of these people in the country pissed off and wanting something different. And just so happen, the tech companies, the things that allow these people to get their reality, meaning the alternative, the media calls them to account and hits them on the knuckles. And in one case makes the point to them, you understand now that your job is not just to be a platform. Your job is to silence dissent. I said early on when I first started this that the Russia stuff was going to be used to attack the left and the right, but particularly the left. And that's effectively what they're talking about. Your job in this is no longer to just be a platform. Your job is to be an active participant to silent dissent. Do you remember during the election when, if you looked at Hillary Clinton, I think it was Hillary Clinton, if you looked up emails, in Google, you would get a different result than you would get in DuckDuckGo, like dramatically different results. Google became an active participant in what people were being seen. It was changing their reality. Same thing from the standpoint of Facebook or Twitter, shadow banning. These guys going to Congress bragging that they were shadow banning certain content. This is tech companies that in large part control what you see of the world, becoming an active participant in shaping what you should see, or at the very least what they believe you should see, changing the algorithm to deprioritize some items while inflating the priority of others. For example, World Socialist website is one of the ones that's taken a hit. I think they said they've seen their content take a hit by like 70-80%. Black Agenda Report, taking a hit. You have left-leaning sources taking a hit, while you could say establishment sources being raised up and bubbled up based on the creators of the algorithm believing those sources to be better for the audience to watch. Let's take a look at this. And let's be very clear, they have self-serving motives in this. When someone like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez gets elected, and she gets elected on this anti-establishment, the Democratic Party fucked up platform, you can imagine if you're a Democrat, you're like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like people having those conversations. I don't like that. So if you're sitting in Congress and you have a tech company and you want to wag your finger at, hey, you need to stop that content that says I'm a horrible corporate hack. I don't like that. The fucking Russians. Yes, the Russians and corporate hack. I don't like those things. I don't like that. And they're related somehow, but I don't like it. Stop it. Stop that. Your job in this is to become more than just a platform. You need to stop just allowing that shit on your platform. Saying I'm a bad guy. I'm not a bad guy at all. I'm a good fucking person. I'm a good person. I recycle. So cut that shit out on your website. Now, Democrats are already in the pockets of the tech companies. I've read an article today written by, I think, it wasn't by Julian Assange, but it was Julian Assange having his first meeting with Eric Schmidt of the tech companies. And Assange making this point that Google is not what they say they are. These tech companies have gathered so much market share and so much for the standpoint of eyes and what people use. Any association with the government at that point, especially if they have a, let's say, a market philosophy or philosophy that is in line with the government, means that ultimately you have a corporate governmental structure where the government has access to information of the user, while at the same token the government not necessarily having to declare that because technically that's not the government. He's making the point that Google is not what they say they are. That's his point. That this idea of don't be evil is nonsense. They're a corporation, and they're a corporation that has joined hands with the United States government in many respects. Look, let's go to this because I don't want to go too far. Let's see. This is World Socialist website. This was back in November 2017. This is still the modus operandi today. So, and I didn't get the chance to do this article when it came out, so I'm doing it now. Former FBI agent says tech companies must silence sources of rebellion. Now, the parts I want to get to is when they get to the congressional leaders. All right. Right here. Republicans sought to discord and amplify racial and social divisions among American voters, said Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein of California. It exploited hot-button topics to target the conservative and progressive audiences. Now, they say Russia. So they're trying to say that, look, all of the issues that came up in the election was because of Russia. The issue here wasn't us. We weren't miserable failures as Democrats and Republicans, but as Democrats, we weren't miserable failures. It wasn't us. We were fucking blameless. The problem here were those goddamn Russians sowing discord and divide all throughout the United States. So me, as a centrist, can sleep perfectly fine at night. It's not that the people were unhappy with me. Those crafty Russians and those Facebook and Twitter ads, half of which they came out after the election. That's what it was. This is nonsense. But these are congressional leaders uttering and spewing nonsense. Self-serving nonsense is the kind of point that I'm trying to get at. They have an incentive to believe that they are not the fuck-ups, they are not the failures, that all of the people being pissed off and the populist revolt, that has nothing to do with the policies and the leadership that they've gone about in their time in Congress. Nothing to do with it. Russia. It's all on the doorstep of Russia. It's nonsense to say. It's nonsense. It's like, you say it, and the people around you should laugh. And when the people around you don't laugh, it's like, okay, I'm sitting here with lunatics. If they honestly believe this stuff, it's utterly nonsense. But again, they're politically motivated to believe it. They're political actors. What are they going to say? Are they going to be honest and say, okay, we failed miserably. People hate our guts because we're such miserable failures. We're propping up a status quo system in which corporate power is able to run roughshod over regular human beings. No, they're not going to say that. So they're going to say stupid shit like this. Facebook and Twitter ads, half of which took place after the election, caused all of the discord and chaos in the United States. With a straight face. Republican Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa said Russia helped promote protests against police violence in Ferguson, Baltimore, and Cleveland. Had nothing to do with the police shootings. Nothing to do with the police shootings. When Obama, actually something they did right, did an analysis, what did they find? Bias. They found bias. They found that cops were targeting certain minority communities. So it wasn't that cops were targeting minority communities and minorities were getting pissed off at those things taking place. It wasn't that cops were shooting human beings as they went about their day unarmed. No, it wasn't that. Fucking Russians. This is lunacy. This is Hunger Games. Think of the journalists, the people who are on TV, the talking faces, the polished talking faces. While the people were in the shit and the piss and the mire, the talking faces were polished, saying things that were utter lunacy. This is what's taking place. Democratic Senator Mazie Hirono of Hawaii demanded, for her part, that the companies adopt a mission statement expressing their commitment to prevent the fomenting of discord. Think about that. You need to keep order. You need to keep order. Your job as a platform for free speech is to keep order. That's nonsense. But again, that's what she said. They need to adopt that as a mission statement. The most substantial portion of the testimony took place in the second part of the hearing, during which most of the senators had left and two representatives from the United States intelligence agencies testified before a room mostly of empty chairs. The chairs were empty, so I'm going to skip past that part. None of the Democrats in the committee raised any constitutional issues involved with asking massive technology companies to censor political speech. One Republican raised concerns over the censorship, but only to allege that Google had a liberal bias. Hey, I don't like this censorship stuff because, you guys have a liberal bias. The Democrats focused their remarks on demands that the internet companies take even more aggressive steps to censor content. In one particularly noxious exchange, Feinstein pressed Google legal counsel on why it took so long for YouTube, which is owned by Google, to revoke the status of Russia Today as a preferred broadcaster. She demanded, why did Google give preferred status to Russia Today as a Russian propaganda arm on YouTube? It took you until September 2017 to do this. Despite the fact that Feinstein and other Democrats were clearly pressuring the companies to take that step, the senators allowed Richard Stalago, Google's law enforcement and information security director, to present what was by all appearances a bold-faced lie about Congress. Before Congress. The removal of RT from the program was actually is a result of some drop in viewership, not a result in any action otherwise. So, there was nothing about RT or its content that meant that it stayed in or out. Stalago stammered in the only time he appeared to lose his composure during the testimony. Stalago apparently false statement is a piece with Google other action to censor the internet. Sorry, it's hard to read this. The light is glaring on this pretty bad. These include changes to its search algorithm, which behind the backs of the public slash search traffic to left-wing websites by some 55%, with World Socialist website losing some 74% of its traffic. Stressing the transformation of the major United States technology companies into massive censorship operation, Democrat Senator Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island asked the representatives of the firm, I gather that all of the companies have moved beyond any notion that your job is only to provide a platform and whatever goes around is not your affair. To which all answered in the affirmative. Yes. You all understand that your job goes beyond just being a platform. Yes. When pressed by lawmakers to state how many people were employed by Facebook to moderate content, Colin Stretch, the company's general counsel, said that Facebook employed thousands of such moderators and was in process of adding thousands more. That's great. We're going to have thousands of people to censor information. And they have been taking people and pages off of Facebook. Just when the senator and the technology companies largely presented a show of unity, just how far the companies were willing to go in censoring user content and helping the government create blacklists of dissidents was no doubt a subject of contentious debate in the background. On Friday, Feinstein sent a letter to Twitter's CEO demanding that the company hand over profile information, possibly including full names, email addresses, and phone numbers related to divisive organic content promoted by the Russia-linked accounts. That's you and me. That's you and me. People who didn't buy the Russian narrative, Feinstein wants those names. If you were against the Russian narrative, Feinstein wants your name. Although the senator largely steered away from the issue of organic content in their questions, a remark by Sean Edgett, Twitter's acting general counsel, made clear that the organic content Feinstein letter was referring to included social media posts of United States-based organizations and individuals. Edgett said organic tweets include those that you or I or anyone here today can tweet from their phone or computer. They're making lists. Feinstein is making lists. The New York Times reported over the weekend, however, that Facebook has already begun turning lists of such organic content over to congressional investigators. Given that Facebook has said that just one Russia-linked company has posted some 80,000 pieces of divisive content, including reposts from other users, it's reasonable to assume that Twitter and Facebook are being pressured to turn over information on a substantial portion of the political dissidents within the United States. If you didn't buy the Russian narrative, Democrats in Congress want your name. They want your name. This greatly puts me in mind of the, what is it called? The General Directorate of Protection of States Secrets of the Press. The main administration, what is it called? The main administration, because I looked this up. I knew the name of it. I know Russia had something similar to this. History is amazing, especially when you have this thing of like you've come across something and then it's just kind of like a string of information, and you come across something else and you're able to connect the two bits of information as being similar. the General Directorate for Protection of States Secrets of the Press. This was in Russia. This was something they started in 1922. Glavlit. They had something similar. They scrubbed certain information from reality because they didn't want people to see that information. We now, in the West, in the land of the free and the home of the brave, with private enterprise, scrubbing information at the behest of the United States government. Information they don't want people to see or they don't particularly like gets deprioritized. And of course, senators now are screaming for the names of people who disagree. This is where we are. You can't make this shit up. This is where we are. Alex Jones, just being one of many. And for the people they don't take down completely, they slow down traffic. Take it away to other places. And that's what they've been doing. So that was November 2017. I see nothing to say that that has changed from the standpoint of policy. They're making lists. Making fucking lists. That's awesome. Is Kamala Harris the monster of Dianne Feinstein? Feinstein monster. Is Kamala Harris the monster of Dr. Dianne Feinstein? The monster of Dr. Dianne Feinstein. You know what's funny? Lauren Steiner hit me up, and her and I, she hit me up on an email, and she was like, "You want to talk about this?" And he was talking about Kamala Harris. She's awesome. So Lauren may be coming on the show today, or I may be going on her show. I don't know which, but we may be talking about it. She's on California time, so she's 3 hours behind me. Is anyone available interested? Al Jazeera content is available on Cloud TV. I love Lauren too. She's awesome. That woman is a pit bull. Ever since I criticized Pompeo and Micah Flea, I've been shadow banned. Criticized them both within the span of 24 hours, even though I'm not sure which one I got shadow banned for. Stable, genius, progressive. I don't believe in the law of attraction much. Creative experiments. Law of attraction, no, not as a law in the way they make it. They make it this kind of mystical thing. It's like if I'm into doing a channel. All right, great. And if I do that channel, if I work on that channel, if I get out and do videos every day, well, certain things start coming to you just by virtue of what you're doing, because what you're doing is in a particular area. And as you dig further into that area, there are people who are already into that area who get attracted to the things that you're doing. Is that mystical? I mean, it just seems one of those things that, you know, it just kind of is what it is, just based on how it is. It's like if I'm a person, I'm going to be somewhere. There's no particular place where a person could be that doesn't exist in something. Like there's a person that's not going to exist in a vacuum. That's my point. Even in a vacuum, he's somewhere. That's kind of what that feels to me, like the law of attraction stuff feels like. Or we would get shut out of combos as they want. Yeah. What has been happening with the deplatforming is dangerous. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Capitalism loves competition. No, it doesn't. And Maxa, I think about checking out Might is Right, the book you pointed out. Might is Right even when it's wrong. All right, I'm going to end this. Thank you guys for showing up. And Funstein's Monster. Thank you very much, Funstein's Monster. We should talk about unionizing content creators. I would love to talk about unionizing content creators. Winkle, I would love to. I'm about to do it again. For some reason, I want to call you Winky. Winkle, I would love to talk about it. Jamal, people are way too big to fit in a vacuum. Mr. Brokens, always catch at the end. Ah, yeah, I'm doing them all day. So I'll be here throughout the course of the day. I'm probably going to take a lunch break after this, but I'll be here after a while. All right, guys. If you enjoyed the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe, and of course, you can always support through Patreon. We have a new Glavlet, and they are corporations. Mr. Brokens, I run a progressive consultant agency. What is a progressive consultant agency? Please wait to hear my story. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Broken Asas. I don't know how to pronounce it. Broken as I'm tipsy at the moment, but excuse me if I'm belligerent, but fuck YouTube. The alternative super chat seems not working for me. Ah, that sucks. I don't know what the I don't know what else to do, Wes. Let me see. Yeah, fuck YouTube is right. Agreed. And they have other donation things. I could try those and see if they have one for Apple. Let's see. There's one with credit cards, but I was always a little freaked out by that one. Not because there was anything wrong with it, just would I be inclined to give a credit card to something like that? I don't know. You just said tipsy as fuck. We're tipsy at the moment. God damn it. Yeah. Yeah, I tried to work some out, Wes. I tried to find something. YouTube is being a fascist. Yeah, YouTube is being a fascist. I couldn't imagine being all slimied and pickled out a pit machine. Wait a minute. Waking up to Jamal and saying, hello, welcome to the real world. That would freak me out and I would... Oh, there's nothing wrong with PayPal, Chris. PayPal is fine. Wes was having trouble with donating. That's all. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Facebook just changed their advertising policy ahead of today's primary. Second time they've done this. It doesn't allow for small candidates and campaigns to advertise posts. Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. I think I want to talk about that. Because, look, let's be very clear. Facebook, Twitter, and Google are not just platforms. I mean, they're companies that have political identities that lean a particular way in the political space. Just is what it is. That needs to be acknowledged. That's funny. Progressive Voices hacking Streamlabs. Oh, God. Oh, God, no. Oh, God, no. Let's see. Andrew, candidates in small posts. Andrew Zygmunt Smith. I don't know what that is. I don't use Facebook all that much, for being honest. But a lot of people do. So just because I don't use it doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't hurt them. There, you know what's, well, speaking of that, somebody hit me up today from something called Fireworks. And they're telling me that it's a platform, a creative platform. So I may start that. I may try that. The day before the Indiana and Ohio primaries as well, it is killing candidates' ability to reach people for get out the vote in the week or two leading up to the primary race. If your YouTube content producer hate boner lasts more than 4 hours, YouTube content producer hate boner. The same monopolies that own half of Congress are now determined speech. Yeah, it's fucking sci-fi right up front. Yes! Look, you have two parties. Think of it from the standpoint of the political class. You have two parties. Those two parties are being assailed by a populist revolt in both parties. You get the tech companies, who in many cases the people. Look, if I don't have millions of dollars, you may have a platform, and that person can get that speech out of that platform. Well, they don't like that. That challenges what they consider to be mainstream media and the mainstream line of thought. They like Chuck Todd. They're cozy with Chuck Todd. They don't like the other people on the line who are saying bad things about Chuck Todd and so forth. So what do? They suppress those voices. They try to push down those voices. They don't like those voices. It makes all the sense in the world. The pressure that the political class is putting on them to do this makes sense. To some degree, we allow this, and we keep allowing this because we allow a small, rapacious group of 1%ers to control the political discourse. And in this case, control when that political discourse gets attacked or squashed or essentially smeared. Let's see. No campaign has the ability or knowledge to do this. It is the real election meddling. It took me and my partner almost 40 hours of combined work over 3 days to get re-verified No campaigns has the ability or knowledge to do this, and it's the real election meddling. I see what you mean. You're saying just before you guys are about to do a campaign, they changed the terms, which means you have to reapply, which takes away the time to get those to get out the votes. I think I understand what you mean. Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Oh, God. I tear into Progressive Voice, but he needs to ask his parents' permission to even pee it online. Oh, to see it online. Oh, God, that's bad. I tear into Progressive Voice. That's fucking hilarious. I tear into Progressive Voice, but he need to get his parents' permission before he can even see it online. Is he really? He's not 16 for real, is he? I thought he's older than 16. He has to be older than 16. Mr. Bullet Club Biggs, the verbal assassin. No, she shouldn't. Sarah Jeong and Bae, she was being harassed. See, I didn't see the full clip. That's why I stayed out of it. I didn't see the totality of that conversation. I will send you a screenshot and details. It's insanity. There are bigger things affecting elections like dark money, super PACs, but this is part of the rigging. Send it. You have my email. My email is in the bottom of the description box. JamalBiz@gmail.com. Send it and explain what's taking place. I'll cover it. I will cover it. Progressive Voice is 12. Hello, jerk. Hello, jerk. All right, guys. I'll end this here. I think I said before, if you enjoy the content, so much for the vibranium. The vibranium. So much for the vibranium. God, I love it that we're geeks and that we know what that means. The vibranium. Somebody's going to be like, what the fuck is vibranium? All right, guys. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support through PayPal or Patreon. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in a few. I'm going to take a lunch break, but I'll be back probably in an hour or so. Thanks all.